ColDesi here again with another little demonstration. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a pocketed hoodie. All right, and we're going to put a large design right up here above this pocket. All right, and we're just going to use our standard platens, and we're going to go through the entire process to kind of show you how this is, how it works. Okay, this particular hoodie that I have is a Fruit of the Loom. It's a size medium. And it is a 60-40 cotton polyester blend. Okay, we are going to be putting white ink on this, and we're going to just get into it. So some of the things you have to kind of keep in mind when you're doing sweatshirts is that poly cotton content. The more poly that's in that, the kind of the worse the print's going to look. Polyester is plastic by its nature. And the inks that we use with the DTG process are for are water-based, so they don't adhere to that plastic material as well. All right, so but we'll still have to pre-treat this. Anytime we use white ink, we have to use that dark garment pre-treatment. If you are choosing certain sweatshirts, try to find the ones that have a higher cotton count, such as like the 60-40s, the 80-20s, or the 90-10s. They are available out there on the market. Okay, so what we're going to do first, we're going to use this Spider Mini over here to pre-treat the front of the garment. All right, so we'll put this up here. Since I'm only going to be printing in this top area right here, I can use my little adjustment knob to only pre-treat up to this area right here. So I don't have to get pre-treatment on the pocket area. All right, definitely want to tuck all my excess underneath. That way I can close the drawer all the way. Since it is a sweatshirt, it's a little bit more absorbent than your typical t-shirt, so we'll definitely put a little bit more pre-treatment than we would a t-shirt. Okay, so let's go ahead and slide this in. I'm gonna move this up to about 35 is where it's at. We'll do it at about, say, 3 on the Spider Mini. The lower the number, the more pre-treatment it puts out. It's the amount of time that it takes to do its pass. So we'll go ahead and hit the pre-treat going. All right. When it does come out of here, it is wet, and there will be a lot of surface moisture. If we don't address the surface moisture when we're doing our pre-pressing, then it will make it shiny. All right. So what we'll do is take this over here to our heat press. Okay, slide this up. Let me make this video a little bit bigger for you guys. Alrighty. So then from here, I like to place the garment upside down when I'm putting it on the heat press. Definitely going to use a little bit less pressure because I have all these pockets in the way and things like that. What I'll do is I'm going to hover the heat press first. But just like I said before, that surface moisture, the easy way to get that kind of pushed into the fabric is I'll take some of my release paper, lay it up here on the top, and basically smooth it out and kind of push that surface moisture into the shirt itself. All right, so then we'll take this, we'll do a little bit of a hover. The hover, what it does is help that wet pre-treat kind of diffuse into the garment, so that way it makes it more even, and it gets that surface moisture again off of the garment, so that way it's not so shiny looking when you pre-press it. So we'll do this for probably about 20-30 seconds. And the hover feature is basically just using the little bar that's above the magnet here. It doesn't push all the way down. It makes it hover about a ½ inch above the garment. Pull that up. Definitely going to put some release paper down. I always do that anytime I do any kind of garment when I press it, so it protects the lid of my heat press. I shouldn't have to get up on top of it and really bear down on there, so that's why I say you need to loosen or tighten it as needed. So we'll just do this for about 15 seconds. The biggest thing that I'm worried about is when I open this heat press, that the release paper floats away from it. Right? Because if it had any kind of stick to the garment here, what that would do is when you peel away that paper, it will pull fibers up and you'll get little white speckles in your image when you cure the garment. So let me hit it for another couple seconds, little 5-10. Okay. Set that out of the way. Now we've got to put this up here on our platen. All right. So we're going to be using the M2 today to print this sweatshirt. And we'll use one of our adult templates. Now, as you can see here, if I would put this garment long ways, like this pocket would be up here on top of the platen. So my little load lasers that set the gap, the distance between the print head and the garment, it would be too far away and your image would have a blurriness to it. So we have to address that before we can actually print it. All right, so what I can do is I can always rotate my images, all right? So I'll turn the platen sideways. All right. Pull this camera over here so we can see a little bit better. Okay, so from here, I can look at the sleeves to make sure that they fold up underneath. I can make sure that the pocket's nice and centered, and I got about the same distance here and here. Okay. And then I'll start with the top, tucking it in lightly. I don't want to stretch the garment because as soon as I take it off of this platen, it's going to stretch right back to its original shape and it could skew your garment. All right. So I just want to keep it taut and kind of push from the bottom up so that way it doesn't stretch the top material. All right. Take the excess, put it underneath. Take this little tag off of here. We don't need that. If the garments are a lot larger, say like large, extra large, 3X, you might only be able to do one of these at a time for the simple fact that it doesn't have enough room for all this other stuff. So it would kind of make the platen sit unlevel. Okay, so now I have the collar of my shirt towards the print head side. I'm going to slide this in here. Make sure nothing gets tucked underneath the platen or anything so it stays level. I'll just go ahead and remove this one for now. Set it to the side. So I push just the leading edge of my garment into the machine. There we go. And then I'll hold the up button until it stops. And then it levels itself down to the gap. Anytime I'm doing like a strange garment, something that's a little bit weird or has seams or a little bit thicker, I like to manually scan the garment just by pushing my platen in. And if you hear that bed drop a lot, like that motor start winding, that means this garment is not level, and then you have to address that. All right, so I'll go ahead and load here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch back over here to my Photoshop. This is the image I decided to put on here. All right, it's this little kind of Chinese ornate dragon. All right, so now I've already got that kind of doctored up where I want the logos. I've added the DTG logo to it. I'm going to reduce Photoshop, and we're going to open up the RIP software, and you can tell that I've already brought that image in. By default, the image will come in at a 90-degree orientation, or basically no rotation. Since we did spin the garment a little bit to the side, we're going to have to rotate this 270 degrees, so that way the top of it faces towards the print head or where the print head docks near the capping station. All right, we'll make this a little bit bigger. All right, we'll do it at about 10.75 wide. All right, so this is going to be basically almost 11 by 10 image here. All right, and then it's going to be close up to the edge here. I'm going to try to get it as close as possible. All right. Since I have my garment already loaded, let's go ahead and hit print. Or let's process it first to see what this image cost would be. All right. It's a cool thing about our RIP software. You don't actually have to print to find out what the cost of the job would be. You can RIP the job only without printing it. Okay, so this particular print at that size is going to be $2.20. All right, so let's go ahead and hit print. All right, let me switch back over here to my video again. All right. Not sure if I can slide in here real quick. Hold on one second. So what it's going to do is going to print that underbase first, and then come back and hit it with all the color at one time. Now, some of the things that you'll run into when you're doing these blended hoodies and sweatshirts and things like that is the reason that a lot of people can't do these successfully is when they do the, like, say the 50/50s on like red or green or something to that order, it will, when you cure it, it changes the color of the image. What is causing this is basically the dye sublimation of the dyes that were used to change the color of the polyester. Right? Polyester uses a dye to change its color, whereas cotton uses a pigment that you actually spray down on top of it. All right, once this underbase has been completed, looks like my video is messing up here. All right, there she goes. Underbase is almost completed. And then it will come back and hit it with all the color at the same time. All right, some of the other things, if you can find fabrics that have a tighter weave, it will definitely print better than the ones with a grainier type weave to it. You'll actually see that in the when it prints out. It'll actually make it, you can see the grain of the fabric inside the print. Once this is complete, we definitely have to handle the garment a certain way so that way we don't damage the print with like one of the sleeves or the hood falling over on top of it. Because the ink is wet when it first comes off the machine. So now that our shirt's completed, I'll wait for it to eject. That way I don't damage the image if I pick it up too far. All right, let me pull the camera back around here. And I'll show you how we kind of adjust this to take it off. All right, so when I take this off, be careful, I like to pull out all the sides first, but then when I pick it up, I try to pick it up from the bottom here so that way the sleeves fall to the side. Spread that out, and then I'll pick it up from the bottom here. Everything kind of drops to the bottom. Take it over here to my heat press. Okay, so when curing your sweats, so as you notice, I did print white ink to this garment. So that means I have 3 minutes of cure time for it. All right, so if I did 3 minutes straight cure time on like a lighter colored sweat or pretty much anything, a white t-shirt or anything like that, it has a tendency to yellow. And what we call that is scorching. All right, so to prevent this scorching, I came up with a little technique of using a piece of embroidery backing, and it acts like a heat sink. The yellowing goes to the backing instead of the garment. So first thing I do, just like with any other garment, I put my shirt down that's printed. I will choose my the type of protective paper that I'm using. All right, you got 3 choices. There's a Teflon sheet. There's also a release paper, which both of those give it more of a shiny finish when you're curing it. It'll have kind of a shimmer to it. Or you can use a parchment paper or matte finish release paper. I prefer that one because it gives it like a smooth, soft hand to it. So I put my protective paper down, that protects my image. And then, like I said, this embroidery backing, all right? What the embroidery backing does, it's like a fabric almost, but it can handle high heat and it will protect the garment from turning yellow. The actual paper will turn yellow before the shirt will. So we'll place that, covering up the entire image and the garment, and then we'll go ahead and press it for 3 minutes. You can get this embroidery backing from Coleman & Company. It's a 3.5 or a 3.75 ounce cutaway backing. It comes in a 20-yard roll, and basically you would just pull off enough where it hangs over both sides and cut off a slice. You can use this until it gets real dirty or brittle. So it can last anywhere from a month to 3 months, depending on how you take care of it. Once it's done, move the papers gently, so to the side. And now we have a finished garment. All right, let's get up close to it and see it. Very high image quality. All right, so definitely if you have any questions, get in touch with us on the support line and we'll be happy to clarify anything you need. Talk to y'all soon.